Yoshoku no Nikoya named restaurant serving Western cuisine, which generally is anything not Japanese in origin, coming from somewhere across the ocean, might be considered Western, is located on the first basement floor of a building at a corner of a shopping district near an office area. Is that one day a week, its doors open into the other world, and fantastic creatures including elves, demons, werewolves, and even dragons enter to taste Earth's delicacies. Within the first few minutes, we get to see restaurant customers ingest teriyaki chicken, curry rice, katsudon, and beef stew, and after a few minutes, it was seen that they were all praising their own food and claiming that their own food was the most delicious, and at some point, they started arguing about it. They stopped fighting when the restaurant master came and told them to stop or he would never cook for them again. At night, a fantastic creature, the Red Queen, a dragon lord, shapeshifts into her human form and came to the restaurant from another world. She enters through the door and brings with her a large pot and wanted to eat the same food, which was a beef stew that she eats at all other times. And she went on eating the delicious food with satisfaction after paying. After she leaves, the restaurant master goes to sleep. At 4 in the morning, the master wakes up and heads down to his restaurant to start preparing for the day. He's surprised to see a girl sleeping on the floor of his kitchen. A young demon named Aletta wanders into the restaurant and, hungry from not having any money or a place to stay, eats an entire pot of corn pottage before falling asleep. Sensing the presence of the restaurant master, she wakes up, feels ashamed, and apologizes for having eaten all the food without permission at night. Then she confesses that she's a demon. She worked as a waitress in a human city, but when others discovered her horns, she lost her job. The restaurant master invited her to have a breakfast special with him without thinking about it. After breakfast, she gets a job offer from the restaurant master to work for him as a waitress once every 7 days, and she starts working from then. Aletta washes up and changes into her uniform. Sarah Gold, treasure hunter, peruses the Diary of William, her ancestors, that tells of a door that appeared every 7 days on the day of Satur, was trying to find the treasure written about in the diary. She checks out of the hotel and goes in search of the treasure. Finally, the treasure turns out to be our cafe, Nikoya. Following the directions in the diary, she locates the door and holds up a knife. A surprise, Aletta welcomes her before. Master asks the newcomer to put the blade away. Once inside, Master explains to the door to distort space and time and create several doors to another world. Master and Aletta invite her to try their food. Sarah wondered how she came here. Is this normal or is this actually another world? Then she sat for a meal and ordered the daily special named minced meat cutlet. The restaurant master said that it must be luck. It was Williamson's favorite dish. Aletta advises that she should eat the cutlets without the sauce and call for her if she wants seconds on the bread and soup. She tries the bread and soup first and enjoys it very much, so she orders seconds. Upon trying the cutlets, she's stunned by how delicious they are and surprised that they're even better with the sauce. Meanwhile, Notorious the maid and Tetsu, the samurai, arrive to meet Aletta, who's on her first day before Sarah leaves. She ate her food with such satisfaction that she did not realize when it was over. The restaurant master gave her a takeout mincemeat cutlet sandwiches to her in honor of Williamson. Master asks her what happened to William, and she replies that he died peacefully and that he was vexed. He couldn't come to the restaurant anymore. Later, Tetsugoro, foreign fencing master who came from the western continent and who is renowned as a great warrior even here in the eastern continent, who visits Captain Heinrich, is shown a royal sword. After seeing the royal sword, he remembered a familiar sword he recalls 3 years ago when he was tasked to deliver an important message. He was an excellent rider who was chosen for that essential mission. On the way, his horse fell ill, so he decided to walk to the palace. He almost came near the palace, but he forgot to bring any food with him. He was hungry. Then he saw a restaurant. As soon as he entered the restaurant with an open sword, he saw the master. The master gave him lemon water and a warm towel to wipe his face and a menu for what to order. The warrior looked at the menu and wondered to see fried shrimp as a meal and ordered that. After that, he remembers his hometown, and meanwhile, master brings fried shrimp. He liked it so much he ordered 3 more, loving the tartar sauce that came with it. As Heinrich didn't have money with him, he left his sword as collateral, promising to pay the next time he comes. He hurriedly left and completed his mission. Days later, he came back to the cabin but didn't see the restaurant. Back in the present, Tetsugoro volunteers to lead him to a door that is near Heinrich's fortress. The restaurant door opens, and an excited Heinrich enters through it. Thomas, the former proprietor of Alfred Company, which sells pasta and pasta sauces, enters the restaurant door at their cellar with his grandson, Seriously, and a sack of ingredients inside. Sirius is amazed by the decor and the unfamiliar things he sees. In exchange for the snack of ingredients that they brought, the master gives them the proceeds that the restaurant earned. Thomas informs Sirius that the master uses those ingredients to research flavors and adjust the recipes so they'll be palatable to them. The two of them order extra large servings of spaghetti with sauce. The two dig in, enjoying the food. Thomas thinks they still have a long way to go to achieve this taste, while seriously wondering why this restaurant has a dish with a taste that their company has yet to put. His grandfather merely smiles, and he comes to a sudden realization as he flips through the restaurant's menu. All of their products are inspired by the pasta dishes that the restaurant offers when they return. Thomas permits Sirius to go to the restaurant whenever he likes to. Some years before, Wilhelm took his granddaughter, Adelheid, to the restaurant, telling her to keep this secret from everyone. Currently, Adelheid, who is becoming a young woman, doesn't remember much of the restaurant except that she ate clouds. She returns to the home of her late grandfather to rest while she's sick with a coughing disease. The next day, a door appears before her while reading. She opens the door and remembers her grandfather bringing her to this place. Master immediately recognizes her as Wilhelm's grand. She again remembers eating clouds and requests for it, which Master understands a while later Lettuce serves her chocolate parfait. She's ecstatic when she tastes the many flavors of the parfait and the wintry coldness that touches her tongue. The next day, Hyde tells her concerned maid that she feels a lot better now. Gagampo, a lizard man who appears to be half human and half lizard, bathes and dries off the water from his body facing the sun that shines in the sky to prepare himself for an excursion on the special. After putting on his armor, he heads to the altar where 30 years ago a door suddenly appeared the strongest hero. The one who decided to leap through his door that led to parts unknown was the hero, Garuba, said to be the strongest of the blue tails at the time. On the other side of the door, in Nicoya of the other world, Garuba entered it and discovered a restaurant and returned with the amazing food of the other world. Since then, a tradition has been born. Every 7 days, the tribe's strongest man chosen in an annual festival would enter the world and bring back food with him. In the present, Garuba takes with him a sack of coins with 3 empty giant bowls. Inside, he orders using the words that Garuba learned from the master of the other world. Large omelet rice, 3 omelet rice orders to go. Finally, he served a magnificent yellow dish striped with vivid red lines. Before the first dish is gone, he orders a second one, and when he finishes his meal, Garuba is full and satisfied. He brings home the 3 takeout party outlets, which the tribe shares among themselves. Meanwhile, an elf named Fardania leaves her worried father to search for ingredients. She wants to offer something delicious for her mother's death anniversary. While on her journey, she chances upon a door nestled within the trunk of a tree. She enters and sees a busy restaurant inside. She peruses the menu and sees nothing she could order. She tells Aletta she'd like a dish without meat, fish, milk, or eggs. Aletta asks the master, who says if she doesn't mind leaving it to the chef's choice, then he can prepare a full meal for her. Doubtful that he could deliver it entirely meatless, she's surprised when they serve her a delicious-looking meal called tofu steak made with seaweed stock and served with rice. Master's confident she'll be able to eat it on her first bite. She's instantly reminded of her youth when her mother was still alive. Her mother learned from humans how to dry mushrooms, which improves the dish to a whole new level. She believes an ingredient of the tofu dish is dried the same way before being cooked with the sour, salty. Each bite of the tofu steak gives a light, satisfying feeling that fills up her stomach. Fardania is impressed by the humans' cooking and resolves to cook better in 7 days. The cuisine is far superior to anything that we elves can cook. She visits the same tree where the door that the restaurant appeared. Aletta asks the master why the beast warrior Lionel only eats cutlet rice bowls. He then tells her a story about the customer he heard from his grand. Many years ago, Lionel faced off with one of the 4 heroes, the half-elf Alexander defeated. When he was in jail, he got a special permit that allowed him to wield his old weapon like before. He was sold to be a gladiator slave for 10,000 gold coins. If he's able to pay back the money by winning it in the arena, he can buy back his freedom. If he can best opponents, he'll be awarded 100 gold coins, win 100 times, and be a free man. On his first day, he's about to face off with a manticore whom he doubted he could win against. When a door suddenly materializes before him with nothing to lose, he met the master of a restaurant who invited him to eat. He asked for something to eat that could help him attain. The master served him a katsuda, explained in the katsuit means victory in Japanese. Lionel instantly fell in love with the dish and wished for a second serving, but he didn't have money. The owner of the restaurant offered to make him more, saying he can pay him back when he has the money for it. After his meal, Lionel became determined to earn money to pay back the rice. He defeated the manticore and went on to win 10,000 gold coins in just a year. He dominated the arena for more than 20 years, earning him the name Lion King. Impressed, Aletta is convinced Lionel can defeat Alexander after all the victory bowls that he had eaten. In one of the major nations of the eastern continent that boasts great power, the Duchy, which stretches back to ancient times, there lives a princess named Victoria who was born as a half-elf. Although her parents were human, she chose to be a sorcerer and discovered she was a genius. When it came to magic, she became the pupil of the greatest sorcerer in the kingdom, Notorious. After 8 years under his tutelage, Victoria returned to the duchy where she was granted generous research funds. However, she sets aside her research for a moment. Every 7, Victoria enters the restaurant and orders pudding a la mode, much to Aletta's surprise as she peruses the menu. She remembers a time when Master asked her to write the menu for the desserts. She tried first the pudding a la mode, which instantly became her favorite. She orders it again and takes some pudding with her as takeout. When she returns, she places them in the cooling box that she invented herself to store. At this point, Aletta had to remember her early days in this restaurant. Meanwhile, the master called him to help him bring some things from the storeroom with him. They bring potatoes from there for making a steamed potato dish. When the day starts, the usual customers arrive. Everyone started ordering their favorite food. Each of the regulars has a favorite dish that they love so much, it becomes their nickname. All of them are convinced that their favorite dish is the best dish that the restaurant offers. It always develops into an argument if the topic of which dish tastes better comes up that day. Heinrich argues with Sarah that shrimp cutlet sandwiches are the best, but she insists that the taste of bread with her usual cutlets is far superior. The debate becomes heated and other diners take notice. Aletta tries to calm them down, but her efforts are in vain, as victorious Tetsugoro lightly berates them, and the two finally back down, apologizing for their behaviors. However, our tourists can't help our state. It's the loin cutlet that makes the best sandwiches. Tetsugoro then states that teriyaki should make the tastier sandwiches as it stays savory, even cold, unlike loin cutlets. The two then get into a heated debate. Meanwhile, Lionel only focuses on getting seconds and thirds of his favorite. Adel puts her 2 cents in, saying that the best sandwiches are fruit sandwiches with cream, but Victoria thinks custard is better than fruit sandwiches. Everyone then starts ordering their favorite food for others to try and convince them that their opinion is right, overwhelming Aletta. Later, Master apologizes to Red as the others left a little later than usual, but she's not bothered with the restaurant. Finally, the clothes master shows Aletta how to steam cobbler's tubers. She tries it and then becomes amazed by the taste of the butter on top. It was the first time she tasted cobbler's tubers that good. When Admiral Frugal is about to leave the restaurant, Master tells him to come again, and he promises that he will. Later, he looks at the island he's leaving for. 20 years ago, the Frugal ship was attacked by the Kraken. He washed ashore on the remote island where he eventually spent 20 long years alone. 3 days ago, as a ship docked on the island to make some repairs, and he's saved. He went to the restaurant for perhaps the last time, but he became determined to eat at the restaurant again. After 3 months, the Frugal finally finds a door connected to the restaurant. He demands to be served curry rice. Before recalling how he first tasted curry, he found a door on the island which led to the restaurant. The master of the time offered him curry. Since then, he's eaten the dish 1,000 times. Master asks if he's willing to try a new curry dish, which makes him excited. Meanwhile, a dark dragon Kuro recalls her past in a battle that lasted 1,000 years. She and 6 other dragons teamed up and defeated the chaos of the many tents. However, all beings born after the battle were weak. So much so that her mere presence kills them to avoid killing innocents. She decides on living on the moon. There she remains alone, when suddenly a door opens on the other side of the door. Lule tries the new curry rice and exclaims how tasty it is. Suddenly, Kuro, who shifted into human form, enters the restaurant naked, which flusters everyone. She conjures some clothes before Frugal decides on treating her. Notorious immediately recognizes her kind, but chooses to stay silent when the dish is served. She likes it so much that she immediately finishes it and orders 4 seconds, sparking Fluke's competitive spirit. However, hours have passed and yet she still keeps eating. Red arrives and tells Kuro that to eat food in the restaurant, you need money. Since she doesn't have money, Red volunteers here to work at the restaurant with only leftover curry rice as her compensation. She's fine with the arrangement, while Aletta becomes concerned, thinking she's going to be replaced. Rogue asks Arte, a mermaid, if this island is the right place, and she answers yes, thanking him that she finally has money 3 days ago. Rogue was swept overboard by waves. Arte saved him, carrying him back to the boat and praying to the gods to calm the skies. Rogue thanked her and asked how he could repay her, and she quickly answered that she wanted 10 silver coins. Surprised, he gave her the money and she invited him to come to a place with her. Currently, Arte changed her fence for a set of dragon lakes. They enter the restaurant through the door and Arte immediately orders 2 hamburg steaks with rice. The two of them enjoy the taste that Rogue decides that they should get seconds, treating Arte upon knowing she doesn't have enough money. Later, Rogue asks Arte if she'll go to the restaurant with him again, to which she answers yes, in town. Aletta knocks on the door before it's opened by Sarah, who's surprised to see her a few days later. Aletta says she's so happy that she found another job at Sarah's house. She'll be cleaning, doing the laundry, and other stuff for 8 copper coins and a small room where she can stay in the break room. Aletta paces herself and tries not to finish the cookies that her master had given her. A later master, who heard that Aletta has another job now, gives her a new box of cookies as a congratulatory gift at Sarah's house. She paces herself again, so she won't have to finish the cookies immediately. Sarah's sister Shia arrives at her home and wonders how her sister ended up with a demon as a housekeeper once. Aletta serves her tea and the remaining biscuits that she has from the tin. Eating the delicious biscuits with tea, Shia enjoys the taste so much that she asks Aletta where she bought them, unable to get a clear answer. She asks her to buy a box of these cookies for her, giving her a gold coin. Surprised, Aletta agrees to the request. While climbing up the mountain, Gilham tells his fellow dwarf guard that they're going to a restaurant that serves great liquor and fish. They arrive at a shack where the guard is surprised when a door appears. Once inside, Gilham immediately orders from Kuro 2 fried seafood platters, plus 2 mugs of beer and a bottle of whiskey with rocks while waiting for their food. They are served a beer that they immediately chugged. They appreciate how easy the liquid slid down their throats and how cold the beer was. Guard, who's a glassmith, appreciates the skill that created the glass that the beer has poured in. After chucking down their second round of beers, they eat their seafood platters, exclaiming that the delicious flavors of each bite they take. Gilham declares that tartar sauce is the ultimate sauce for fish. They order 3 more platters each while the two drink good. Afterward, the guard wakes up in a rickety cabin and becomes determined to fix the place. Meanwhile, Sharif prints the land of sand size, thinking that Adelheid looks pretty. As usual, 7 days pass. Sharif and his half-sister Renner are on their way to the restaurant store. Again, Renner comments that Sharif is being too shy with Adelheid when they arrive at the restaurant. Adelheid isn't around yet, and they order after perusing the menu. Sharif chooses a coffee float with ice cream, while Renner chooses melon soda with ice cream. They're enjoying their drinks when Sharif's crush arrives. She greets Renner first, and the others invite her to join their table. Requesting her to tell them about the Empire, Adel sits down, making Sharif flustered and ordering a usual chocolate parfait. Tiana, Queen of the Land of Flowers, receives a report of a strange door suddenly appearing. She immediately goes to see it, and someone's guardian opens the door for them to take a squad with her. They enter the restaurant. She decides to ask Victoria to explain where they are right now. Victoria tells her that they're in a restaurant that connects to another world. Though doubtful, Tiana asks what Victoria could recommend from the menu. She recommends that they try the mixed fruit crepe, and Tiana follows her recommendation. After Aletta cuts up the crepe, Tiana tries it first, thinking it may be poisoned, deeming the food safe. All of them enjoyed it. In exchange for a valuable seed, Victoria promises to pay for them whenever they eat at the restaurant in the future. Master drafts by their table and asks if they love the dish, and Tiana replies that it's very delicious. A few months later, Tiana asks the guardian to open the door again before she and her subjects fly inside. Meanwhile, Bardania is on her way to see Christian after reading a letter from her father. He is her father's best friend. Upon meeting him, Christian welcomes her warmly. She comments on the weird smell in his house, and he reveals he's fermenting elven beans that were inspired by a dish he'd eaten in a restaurant from another world before. Not surprised, Christian realizes she knows of its existence. Later, they enter the restaurant together. He orders natto spaghetti without egg for the two of them. When their dishes arrive, he appreciates the taste of the natto on the pasta. He's pleased to see that Bardania seems to enjoy it herself as well. When they're finished eating, there's a request to have natto again, but this time with rice stunned. Christian requests to have the same dish as well. It turns out that natto with rice is very delicious, which impresses Christian. When they get back to his home, he hands her a pot of elven bean miso before she heads out while eating curry. Kuro remembers Red's words telling her to protect the restaurant from anyone who has ill will. Both Master and Aletta are extremely weak beings, so they must be protected. Arya is invited by his mate, Iris, to check out the Chimeric Killer's island. Both are sirens looking for a place to make them. Arya is hesitant knowing that the Chimera Killer is a dangerous person, but Iris manages to convince him on the island where Admiral spent 20 years. The two sirens spot a pouch filled with gold and silver coins. And within a letter, it says that on top of the hill, a door appears on the day of Satur on every 7th day. The two decide to stay on the island. In the meantime, after a few days, the two spot the door that Admiral referred to in his letter. Inside, they are greeted by Aletta, who tells that the place is a restaurant from another world. While Aletta leaves them alone for a while, Iris finds a piano and invites Arya to sing with her. They influenced Master and Aletta without meaning to. Kuro is quick to act, stopping both of them from singing. She tells that if they want to eat here again and return in one piece, then the two must promise not to sing again. The two are apologetic and give their word. Aletta brings them their menus, but they don't know what to pick. Iris asks for raw fish. Aletta runs to ask Master. She comes back and tells that they have a raw fish dish called carpaccio. Master serves the dish, and they're surprised by how tasty it is. They just finished their seconds. Arya is surprised when he hears the Admiral's name before. Outside, Arya proposes to officially make the island their nest and starts off there. That Frugal left when their last customer finally leaves. Master offers Kuro the curry buns. He's about to cook for dinner. They turn out to be crispy, golden brown with a rich curry filling on the inside. Before Aletta leaves, she tells Kuro to be careful. Kuro thinks Aletta's worry is unnecessary. She still thanks her master for announcing they're serving soup as the day is a special day. Years ago, 4 heroes joined forces to put an end to the century-long war with the evil demons. They slew the demon god, but they lost their strongest hero, Yomi. One of the heroes, Alexander, visits his fellow hero Notorious. He requests to be brought to the restaurant from another world, saying there's something he'd like to do. Notorious easily agrees and advises that they wait until evening, as it would be a bad idea for him to meet the other diners. Meanwhile, it's a pretty busy day at the restaurant, and the soup proves to be popular with the customers. Finally, Arturia arrives with Alexander, and Notorious orders his usual while Alexander orders croquettes with beer. Kuro passes by them, which makes Alexander sweat immediately knowing that crossing with her is bad. After the food is served, Alexander takes a bite and becomes amazed at how delicious it tastes. He adds that Yomi even has a grandchild in this world, hinting it is a master. Later, Alexander visits Wilhelm's grave, lightly scolding him for dying before him. He then says loudly that he went to the restaurant and the croquettes are good. Adelheid arrives at her grandfather's grave, surprised to see someone crying. However, the stranger disappears a second later. Back at the restaurant, Master is questioned about if the restaurant could afford to give out free soup, but he tells her not to worry about it. The special day happens only once a month, and the meals earn the money back. Besides, everyone ate it so happily that it can't hurt to do it once in a while, touching a lot of tears up before Master tells what they'll be having for dinner. While eliminating a band of goblins, demon bounty hunter Hilda chances upon a Nicoya door, and thus becomes one of the restaurant's regulars. For what? Let's see what happens in the next part. Until next time, do take care and stay safe.